Now I'm going to quickly demonstrate how GBTimelapse f-stop correction works when doing AutoRamp. I've got a Canon 5D Mark II with 16-35mm zoom lens set at 35mm. A bulb exposure of 2 seconds at f2.8. It's a bright sunny day, so I've got a 10-stop neutral density filter so I can use a bulb exposure time this long. I'll capture an image. You can see it's a sunny day. Luminance value of 146 for this exposure. So I'm going to set AutoRamp to 146 and turn off AV adjustment and ISO adjustment. So it'll go along trying to maintain this luminance, taking an image, capturing an image every 6 seconds. So I'm going to begin this time lapse. Okay, AutoRamp is working. It's maintaining an image luminance of 146. It's changing the bulb exposure time a little bit. It's there, still right around 2 seconds. Now while it's running, I'm going to change the aperture from f2.8 to f4. So that's a smaller aperture. It should double. That's one full stop, so it should double the bulb exposure time when I switch apertures. So I switched to f4. It doubled the exposure time, one full stop. But whoa, the exposure is much brighter. That's because f2.8 is not one full stop from f4. The f-stops are inaccurate on this lens. That's why we need f-stop correction. I'm going to go to the AutoRamp settings for this project and turn on f-stop correction. This is a table of actual f-stops that we've measured. Let's look at the history so far. You can see that we were running at a bulb time of 2 seconds. I changed the f-stop from 2.8 to f4, and it doubled the exposure time. But because the f-stop was inaccurate, the luminance jumped up. But AutoRamp is bringing it back down to where it should be now. So now that we have f-stop correction turned on, when I change the aperture back to 2.8, it should correctly adjust the bulb time. Let's see what happens. So I change the aperture to f2.8, and look at that. It cut the bulb exposure time back down to 2 seconds without a change in luminance. So the corrected aperture value from the correction table is right. Okay, the theoretical value, theoretical f-stop number, is wrong. So that's why when doing bulb ramping with AV stepping, we need to use a f-stop correction table. Here, I'll turn it back to f4. You should see the speed jump. You should see the bulb exposure time increase and when the aperture increased, but no change in luminance. By having an f-stop correction table, we eliminate flicker.